Okay. So our next speaker is actually can't be here with us today. So he's online on Zoom. His name is Itamar. He's going to talk about mass adoption, unlocking mass adoption of the layer 2. Itamar, hi. How are you?
Hi.
Can you
Hi
hear
everyone.
us?
Thanks for. Yeah, can hear you well.
Perfect. Well, the floor is yours, and enjoy the talk.
So first, thanks for the Ledger team for having me. And sorry I can't be there. Unfortunately, I have to quarantine. So I'm the founder of Argent. For those who know Argent, we are focusing on making crypto accessible to the masses, trying to solve every issue from security to whether it's custody risk, fraud, or whether it's simply the overall UX of crypto. So today I'll try to explain a bit what we're focusing on right now. One of the big issues recently is having been, of course, the transaction cost that is pushing most of users out of crypto, or at least out of Ethereum layer 1. So I can share a bit about how Argent approaches the problem and what we'll be releasing in the coming days, weeks, and so on. I think first, maybe our view on mass adoption is that it won't be about 1 billion users only buying Bitcoin, ETH, or any other asset. We see really these rails as an opportunity to unlock a lot of use cases for different pockets of users. I think there will be, we have millions of users buying crypto. We'll have another several millions playing games and tens of millions buying NFTs, some using it for payment and remittance and so on. To achieve that, so true mass adoption with a lot of use cases, we need to solve a lot of the issues we have today in crypto. I think for any new player in crypto, it's any new users entering crypto, it's clearly a super scary world when you think about custody and all the complexity surrounding crypto. And then a new issue we've had, I would say new for a year or almost 18 months now, is that if you move to a non-custodial world, suddenly it's extremely expensive. So it's very hard to convince users that they should explore that space when you have all these issues. The vision of Argent for crypto, it's really to empower everyone to have direct control of their digital asset and identity. So non-custodial for us, it's key to our principles, because for us, that's the only way to give access to a very broad range of use cases. To achieve that, I think the starting point at Argent is we don't believe there can ever be a world where your wealth, your assets, all depend on some kind of secret. So the idea that you have a secret, that if you lose that secret, you have lost all your funds, and if someone has your secret, they have your funds, it's a fundamental problem we've worked on from day one. Whether it's a seed phrase, whether it's a password or something else, that's a fundamental issue. And so the starting point for us is being super simple to custody yourself your crypto, which means it should be seedless, to have high security. On layer 1, we have mostly very large users, but $1 million for someone is $100 for someone else. So everyone needs a good security. Non-custodial to be able to access basically Web3 and any use case out there. And then obviously low cost. If you think about the end user, we need to get much lower than what Ethereum can offer today. If you look at what we did so far, we solved, I would say, 2-3 of those issues. We created an experience that is fully non-custodial, but that has no seed phrase. So you can have basically other keys, other people, whether it's people, hardware, wallet, services that will help you for recovery. That's what we call social recovery. We implemented the first version of fraud monitoring. So in Argent, you have a smart wallet that will differentiate low risk and high risk transaction. So low risk transactions are frictionless. If you want to trade token A for token B, there is no exchange, there is no value leaving your wallet, and it will just go smoothly. And then if it's a higher risk transaction, you might approve your transaction with something like a ledger, and then overall making the whole DeFi experience quite simple. what really was the starting point around security, and since we are a Ledger conference, I think it's good to mention how we leverage the security of hardware wallet, is basically in Argent, you can have the best of both worlds. You can have a mobile app where you see your funds, where you transact, you trade, you invest in DeFi. It's all super easy. But then you can use a ledger basically as 2FA, as your security blanket in case you lose the private key in your device, which is basically an on-chain model where you say, okay, Guardian, in this case, your ledger, please restore my account. Your ledger will sign, will use an Ethereum signature to validate that order, and 48 hours later, you get back control of your wallet. So a model actually that is very similar to you calling your bank saying, I lost my wallet, can you freeze my card and send you a new one? It's exactly what happens here with the rules being set on chain and you having full control of what you will trust, in this case, a ledger, for example. But you could use friends and family using the app. You could use a service that Argent provides. It's totally open. The main issue is that it's super, super, super expensive. If you don't have probably $50,000 to $100,000 of assets, we tend to tell you, look, don't use Argent on layer 1 right now. It's not worth it. The gas fees will just be too high, and over time, it won't be a good investment unless you're really just holding and not transacting a lot. So that's really our main focus. It's like, how do we solve that's really the last barrier for us. How do we solve the cost issue? Because we have solved the security, the usability. And so that's why for the past year, layer 2 has been the core focus of the team. And we creating and crafting the experience we always dreamed of at a much lower cost on layer 2. Within this, we are quite opinionated. On the mobile app, our objective is not to give access to 30 different chains, 30 different layer 2s. We want to abstract that. The users need to feel they are in a very simple environment while still being open, which is really the main challenge, I think, when you think about usability. And we have been even more opinionated than chains versus layer 2 in that our focus is really on ZK rollup. There are a few reasons. So ZK rollup, whether it's ZK Sync, Starknet, Polygon as a few options being built right now. And they offer a lot of what we needed. They are low cost already today, with potential to be much lower with different data availability options. So right now we can already achieve probably 98% decrease in cost. Fast finality, so it settles on Ethereum quite quickly. You get really the Ethereum layer 1 finality. Smart contract, which were the big weakness of ZK rollup. You could do payment, you couldn't do a lot of bespoke logic. They are literally around the corner. Starknet is in alpha, already on mainnet, and ZK Sync is about to launch their testnet. And something quite particular that we care a lot is that most of ZK rollup today, because they could start from more of a blank sheet and think about all the legacy and what to solve, have something that's called account abstraction. And that's specifically interesting in the case of Argent and how we approach this problem, because Argent is built on smart contracts. So instead of having a normal account on layer 1, you would have a smart account, which is a smart contract that can have all that logic. And account abstraction is one of the key to unlock that. If we think for a second of the user experience, so this is what I'll show here is basically our layer 2 wallet live on mainnet, the rollout happening now, and all of our users, we have 500,000 users on the waitlist. Everyone will have access before the end of the year. Allows us to create very simple interactions. So in this case, I want to earn yield on ETH. I can literally on layer 2 get a staked ETH in exchange of my ETH. There's no more, it's really no different than using something like Revolut using N26. But it's fully non-custodial. In this case, I can get my stake ETH for less than $2 transaction fees. So it's really the experience we dreamed of on Ethereum layer 1 a few years ago when we started. We couldn't achieve that, and now on layer 2 we're able to offer the products that to users actually can be simple. It's actually let's trade, let's buy crypto, or let's earn yield on my ETH or stablecoin. but under the hood, they are much more complex. So stake ETH is quite simple, but for example, you could do in the same flow, single click, something like staking your ETH in Lido, putting this in Curve, then using the Curve pool token and putting it in Yearn. It's basically another click in Argent, and you have done all that on layer 2 again for $1 or $2 of transaction fees. So we're obviously very excited because that's the start for us of a new chapter. It's a simple offering at start, but I think with the evolution of ZK Rollup, a lot more will be possible. The reason, so maybe a word, because I think there are quite a few developers in the room, why account abstraction is important to us, and then I'll dive a bit in that. Is that it gives you the ability for every account becomes a smart account. Every account is a smart contract. There's no more EOA versus smart contract, which for us is key to bring non-custodiality to a mainstream audience. There's no more, that developer don't have to build for EOA versus smart wallet, which happens a lot on Ethereum on layer 1. You have a lot of dApps that might not work in a specific scenario. Or quite some dApps, not that much, but you have. Here, every account is smart wallet. You don't have to worry about that. And then also the smart wallet becomes very efficient from a cost perspective. On layer 1, having a wallet like Argent would be more expensive than an EOA, which is why our users tend to have significant amount of funds. On layer 2, this is not an issue anymore. And the way account abstraction works is basically separate the idea of your private key, the signer, from the account. So you will have a private key. It doesn't matter. It can be on mobile. It can be in a browser, a Chrome extension. It can be your hardware wallet on Ledger. There's a private key that is capable of signing for the right elliptic curve of the layer 2. But then separately, you have an account. On Ethereum layer 1, this is basically hard-coded, what we call the EOA. But there's actually logic. It's the entry point for your transaction. That's where the assets are held. It will have things like nonce management, authorization layer, but suddenly you can add more logic in that account on ZK Rollup. And then that account will interact with the dApps. And that's really where things get exciting. So we did the first version of our smart account on Starknet on the alpha. So still more aimed at developer to help them build their dApps. But it's actually the very first contract ever deployed on Starknet. And what's interesting is that you suddenly have an account that you can use any key as signer, as mentioned. So we build, for example, a Chrome extension to help developer build there, but the key can be on a phone or on a ledger. But we've put logic in that smart account that allows you to have additional keys for recovery. So that was the example I'll show you with a ledger. But also this account by default can have advanced authorization. So you could have, for example, the key in your phone signing transaction, but you could say, okay, I want the second key, for example, in third-party fraud monitoring service that we will offer that will co-sign with me. And if we see a low risk in the transaction, maybe because you are sending to a trusted address, or you are swapping DAI for ADAI, which is very low risk, we can co-sign automatically. And then if we suddenly see a risk, we can ask you for 2FA validation, or you could use your ledger. And this is suddenly embedded in the core account model there. And then another thing we've added is the ability to do multi-call. So suddenly you can batch a lot of transactions in a single one, and you could completely remove the notion of ERC20 allowance, because in every transaction you could batch the ERC20 allowance together with the actual transaction. These were all things we were doing on layer 1, but they were more expensive, more complex. With the account abstraction, these become a very, very simple contracts with very simple logic that allows you to do a lot of things that solve massive user experience issues in the space. For the developer in the room, right now you can start building on Starknet. You will be able to start building on ZK Sync very soon. So for Starknet, we've helped them with a few things. So you can basically on NPM get Starknet basically and build very quickly a dApp that will leverage Argent X, our Chrome extension, and also very soon Ledger for signature. And that's basically a light wrapper around Starknet.js that we're also contributing to. And the kind of experience you can see here how it will look like. So Ledger, the extension is live on the Chrome Store. The Ledger integration is a proof of concept. We're finalizing it. But basically, you can see here an account that is technically a smart contract on StarkNet, and you are deploying it by approving that with a key in your ledger. So the ledger will sign the StarkNet transaction and give an order to your account. And I think that's an example where I can let it go through. As you can see, it looks like a very simple Chrome extension, but you can bring much more security there because basically your Chrome extension can have fraud monitoring, can have multi-sig, can have new type of recovery, etc. And then obviously our plan is to bring that in the main Argent app. As you can see, you can interact directly with a dApp. That's just us building a demo dApp to mint a token. So it's functional. You can go on the Chrome Store, get that signature, etc. So you can really start building on StarkNet today. It uses Cairo, so a bit of a different language, but they will have the ability to transcompile from Solidity very soon. So Argent X, yeah, I mentioned you can just go on the Chrome Store, Google search for Argent X, or go to argentlinks.argentx. It's there. Aim at developer. There are not dApps there, or there are mostly demo dApps. The goal is really to help you build dApps on StarkNet from now. I think the conclusion, what you can take from here, what can you do if you're a whale? If you have a lot of funds and you need top security, go get yourself an Argent wallet, argent.xyz, to find the link. It's on the Apple Store and the Play Store. And then I'm assuming you all have a ledger. Set straight away your ledger as a guardian. You will have therefore access to all your funds straight away from your phone, but you will keep the security of your ledger. If you are smaller users, get Argent 2 on our go to our website, Play Store, Google, and Apple Store. And in the next week or two, you'll have access to our first L2 wallet that is on ZK Sync. It will give you the ability to invest in DeFi, to trade, to buy funds straight on a layer 2, and all that with transaction costs between 50 cents and $2. So that's a huge leap forward on usability. And then if you're a builder there, you can get Argent X, get StarkNet on NPM, and you're ready to build on StarkNet. That's it for now. If anyone has questions, I can try to answer. If there are deep questions on StarkNet, I'll refer you to the StarkNet team that is actually Starkware team that is in Paris right now. So if there are any questions, happy to answer. No question. We're around online, so find us at Argent HQ on Twitter. We'll be happy to answer any question. We're also on Discord.
I've got a microphone here if anyone has questions in the room. Yeah, you have?
Hello. Thank you for the presentation. So I noticed you're unsafe signing on the Nano for now. I know on my side that there is, so I'm working with Ledger, by the way. So I know there is a real application with clear signing on the way. Do you know approximately when this will happen? Is it something that we can already say? Do we have a timeline on this one?
So we use unsafe signing. That's why it's a proof of concept. It's not live because of unsafe signing. So we're waiting. So the answer is we are waiting for you to have for Ledger to complete. Once Ledger has the StarkNet application, for us it will be very quick. So I know we are directly in contact with your team around that, but we don't have yet full finality on the timing.
Okay, thank you. So the ball is on our side. So Carl,
exactly.
So I shouldn't have asked the question. Thank you for that.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much, Itamar.
Thanks for having me, and enjoy Paris.